The world belongs to the bold, and nowhere is this more true than in seduction. If you see her every day and say nothing, waiting for the perfect moment, nothing will ever happen. Another man will take the chance you never did. Why? Because the right time never comes. Women aren't waiting for perfection. They're waiting for the man who dares, who speaks, who moves while others freeze. Rejection cuts once and heals. Regret rots you for years. It keeps you awake at night, replaying the silence that stole your chance. That's the real prison, not her no, but your hesitation. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. Fortune belongs to the bold, never to the cautious. The moment you act, the entire game shifts. You stop being invisible, and you become unforgettable. This video will show you how to talk to women in the exact way they secretly long for, without fear, without waiting, without letting rejection rule you. These aren't pickup lines. They're Machiavellian laws that turn words into weapons, silence into tension, and conversations into desire. Stay until the end, because once you master this language, you'll never wait again. You'll be the man she cannot resist, cannot forget, cannot deny. The first thing you must do to speak to women the way they secretly desire is destroy the fear of rejection. Because as long as you're ruled by that fear, your words will never carry weight. Every hesitation, every pause, every excuse bleeds through your voice, your body, your energy. She feels it instantly. And no woman is drawn to a man who seeks safety more than he seeks truth. Here's the brutal reality. Most men think silence keeps them safe. They stand in the corner, waiting for the perfect opening. They believe patience is noble, that timing will magically reward them. But in the real world, waiting is not strategy. It's slow suicide. The perfect moment never arrives. The man who acts creates the moment. The man who waits loses it forever. Think about it. A rejection burns once. A single no can sting, bruise your ego, maybe humiliate you for a few days. But regret is endless. Regret chains itself to your memory and drags you back to the same nightmare again and again. At night, you replay the moment you stayed silent. You hear the voice in your head asking, "What if I had spoken? What if I had dared?" That question never stops. And it doesn't just torture you, it weakens you. Machiavelli would have warned you. Men who wait for perfect conditions die before the battle even begins. Fortune belongs to the man who forces the game forward, even in chaos. He knew that waiting is never neutral. Waiting is surrender disguised as patience. Here's the shift you must engrave into your mind. Rejection doesn't define you. It refines you. Every time a woman says no, you lose nothing essential. What you lose is another layer of weakness, another fragment of hesitation. And what remains is sharper, stronger, more decisive. The man who collects rejections becomes unbreakable. The man who avoids them becomes invisible. So the next time you feel that hesitation tighten in your chest, recognize it for what it is. The signal you must act. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Speak. Take the step. Force the moment. Because rejection wounds once, but regret kills forever. And if you keep waiting, you won't just lose her, you'll lose yourself. The second thing you must master is killing logic in your conversations. Because nothing destroys attraction faster than sounding like a job interview. Most men, once they finally open their mouths, default to the safest script they've been taught. What do you do? What music do you like? What are your hobbies? Harmless questions. Predictable questions. Deadly questions. Why? Because logic doesn't stir her emotions. Logic puts her in her head, where she weighs, analyzes, and quickly gets bored. Attraction lives in her body, in her instincts, in the spark that comes when she feels surprised, teased, and slightly off balance. The moment you make her feel like she's filling out a form, you've already lost. Here's the ugly truth. Predictable men are forgettable men. If your words follow the same path every other guy has taken before you, she doesn't even need to be present in the conversation. She can autopilot through your questions while her mind drifts to the man who last made her laugh, or the man who challenged her instead of validating her. Machiavelli would have warned, transparency is weakness. The prince who reveals every intention is easy to control, easy to outmaneuver. In the same way, the man who reveals himself with logical, predictable words becomes an open book, one that no woman feels the need to keep reading. That's why logic is your enemy. To spark desire, you must abandon the safe script. You must replace logic with play. Replace questions with bold statements. Replace information with provocation. Not insults, not cruelty, but a playful edge that forces her out of routine and into emotion. For example, instead of saying, "That's a nice dress," say, "That dress looks dangerous, like it could get you into trouble tonight." Instead of asking, "Do you like this bar?" say, "This bar feels too calm for you. You look like you'd burn the place down just to see what happens." See the difference? One makes you sound like every other man. The other makes her feel something unpredictable. And once she feels, you're in the game. Here's the principle you must engrave in your mind. Attraction is never logical. It's emotional. It's primal. And the man who knows how to speak past her mind and directly to her instincts will always rise above the man who asks the safe questions. The third thing you must embrace is speaking in the language women secretly crave. Playful provocation. Most men think approval is the way in. They give compliments, nod along, and try to impress. But approval is cheap. Every man gives it, so it carries no weight. What sets you apart is the ability to spark tension through words that tease, challenge, and invite her into a game. Think of it like this. Attraction isn't built through agreement. It's built through energy. A woman doesn't remember the 10th man who told her she was beautiful. She remembers the one who made her laugh, who made her eyes widen for a second, who left her curious about what he'd say next. Machiavelli would have whispered, "Power lies not in making others comfortable, but in keeping them intrigued." A ruler who is too predictable loses respect. A man who is too agreeable loses her attention. Playful provocation works because it flips the script. Instead of you chasing her validation, she finds herself chasing yours. When you jokingly challenge her, when you throw a light remark that dares her to respond, you're signaling without words. I'm not here to worship. I'm here to see if you can keep up. For example, if she tells you she loves a certain type of music, instead of nodding and saying, "That's great," you smirk and reply, "Really? I expected you to have better taste than that." Then pause. Let her react. Let the spark ignite. She'll play back, because the game is irresistible. This is not about being cruel. It's about creating tension. The kind of delicious back and forth that wakes her up from the monotony of endless admirers. You are not another safe voice in her day. You are the man who speaks the language of intrigue. Here's the essence. Stop trying to win her over with comfort. Win her over by making her feel alive. The fourth thing you must bring into every conversation with a woman is the fusion of mission and frame control. Picture this. You're at a dinner with friends, and the conversation drifts toward careers. Most men start listing tasks. "I'm in marketing. I do campaigns. It's stressful sometimes." She nods politely and forgets you 5 minutes later. But the man with a mission, who also knows how to frame his reality, speaks differently. He says, "Right now I'm building a project that's going to flip how small brands get seen online. It keeps me up at night, but I can't stop. I know it's going to shift the game." Suddenly, her eyes sharpen. You're no longer just in marketing. You're a force shaping the environment. That's not small talk. That's frame control backed by mission. Machiavelli would have warned, "He who does not define his reality will have it defined for him." A prince without narrative is just a subject in someone else's story. Here's the psychology. Women don't only care that you're ambitious, they care that you make your ambition the stage on which everything else plays out. If you let her set the frame, the interaction becomes about her approval, her standards, her judgment. But when your mission defines the conversation, you reverse the current. She feels herself being pulled into your orbit. Take another example. You're traveling, sitting in a cafe with a woman you just met. She asks casually, "So, why are you here?" Most men answer with facts. Vacation. Needed a break. Just sightseeing forgettable. Instead, the man who understands mission and frame control says, "I came here to sharpen my craft. Every place I travel, I study people, how they connect, how they move. I'll take this back home and use it to build something bigger." Suddenly, she's not looking at a tourist. She's looking at a builder, a student of life, someone she wants to keep up with. Here's the essence. A mission alone makes you interesting, but a mission framed with authority makes you unforgettable. Women don't just want to hear about what you do. They want to feel the gravitational pull of a man who defines his world and invites them into it. The fifth thing you must master when speaking to women is the art of calculated silence combined with commanding body language. Most men fear silence. They rush to fill the air with words, thinking noise will save them from awkwardness. But the man who understands attraction knows silence isn't emptiness, it's tension. And tension, when controlled, is desire's oxygen. Imagine you're talking to a woman at a bar. She says something teasing, expecting you to respond quickly like every other man would. Instead, you hold her gaze, let the silence stretch for 2 seconds, and only then let a faint smile curve your lips before you answer. That pause flips the script. She feels her own heartbeat fill the gap. She wonders what you're thinking. The silence isn't absence, it's pressure. Machiavelli would have advised, "He who does not fear the pause wields the power of the stage." In politics, in war, and in desire, the ability to wait while others squirm creates control. But silence alone isn't enough. It must be paired with the language of the body. Your posture, your stillness, your gestures, they speak louder than any clever line. If your words say, "I'm confident," but your shoulders are slouched and your hands fidget, the illusion breaks. The true Machiavellian presence is built by restraint. No frantic movements, no nervous shifts, just a calm, deliberate posture that tells her, "I am not in a hurry, and you are not in control of my rhythm." Here's the counterbalance most men never understand. Silence without energy feels like emptiness, but silence with unshakable body language feels magnetic. For example, picture yourself sitting across from her on a date. She's talking, and instead of nodding excessively or rushing to agree, you lean back slightly, your hand resting still on the table, your eyes focused directly on hers. Then you let a small pause before answering, not as if you're searching for words, but as if you're choosing whether her words are worth responding to. That moment makes her feel the weight of your attention and the cost of keeping it. This interplay of silence and presence forces her into the game. She begins to adjust her tone, lean closer, over-explain, or even tease harder just to break your calm. That's when the power shifts. You no longer fight for her attention. She works to pull a reaction from you. The truth is simple. The man who talks too much loses value, but the man who speaks with pauses, anchored by strong body language, becomes unforgettable. Every silence becomes a stage, every glance a move in psychological chess, and she will replay those moments in her mind long after you've left. Here's the sixth thing to understand if you want to talk to women in the way they secretly crave. Mystery is not about being vague or hiding. It's about revealing only what fuels her desire. Most men think mystery means silence, withholding everything, or pretending to be distant. But that's just emptiness, and emptiness does not attract. Real mystery is built on selective revelation. It's knowing what sparks her curiosity and giving her just enough to keep her mind chasing after you. Think about it like a story told by a master strategist. He never lays out all the details at once. He reveals only what keeps the audience hooked, waiting for the next chapter. With women, it's the same. If you hand her your entire story in one sitting, you kill the tension. If you drip-feed the right details about your life, your challenges, your victories, you become a puzzle she wants to solve. Machiavelli would warn you here. A ruler who exposes all his intentions loses respect. Power comes from being unpredictable, from forcing others to wonder what your next move will be. In the same way, you must talk to her in a way that makes her wonder who you are beyond the words you've given her. Here's where most men fail. They talk endlessly about things that don't matter to her. But the wise man studies the woman in front of him. He observes what excites her, what she values, what lights up her eyes. If she values ambition, don't tell her your whole life story. Drop a subtle line about a challenge you're working on. If she craves adventure, mention the trip you took that changed you without bragging about it. When you align your fragments of revelation with what she secretly desires, she feels both curiosity and admiration. Picture this. You're sitting across from her. She asks about your job. Instead of giving her your CV, you say, "I'm working on something that's demanding, but it's worth every drop of energy. It forces me to grow." Then you stop. She'll lean in, she'll ask more. And the more she asks, the more she invests. That's how mystery is created. Not by silence, but by guiding her curiosity exactly where you want it. Your words are not there to fill space. They're there to frame her perception, to leave gaps she aches to fill. Every unanswered question in her mind is a hook that ties her thoughts back to you long after the conversation ends. The sixth thing is simple but rare. Master the art of controlled revelation. Give her just enough to see your depth, but never enough to finish the story. A woman does not chase a man who is fully known. She chases the one who makes her imagine what else he might be. The seventh thing to master if you want women to hang on every word is this. Every sentence you say must carry weight. Most men fill the air with chatter. They talk about the weather, traffic, or whatever random thought passes through their head. That's filler. And filler kills attraction because it shows you don't value your own words. A woman won't value them either. Instead, every time you open your mouth, your words should either spark curiosity, create tension, or reveal purpose. It doesn't mean you need to sound like a philosopher. It means you stop speaking just to speak. Here's an example. At a bar, a guy nervously tells a woman, "So, how was your weekend? Did you do anything fun?" She shrugs. The conversation is dead before it starts. But another man, in the same situation, looks at her and says, "You look like someone who causes trouble when nobody's watching. Am I right?" Instantly, she's engaged. He hasn't asked a dull question. He's made a bold statement that demands a reaction. Machiavelli would remind you, rulers don't waste their words. Every decree, every phrase must serve strategy. In conversation, your strategy is simple. Make her feel something. Challenge her, tease her, intrigue her. When you speak, speak as if your words are chosen weapons, not background noise. And here's the secret most men ignore. Women want to feel that your world is bigger than theirs. So when you talk about your mission, your goals, your vision, it must sound like a fire you're already chasing, not a line rehearsed to impress. Tell her, "I've got this project I'm building. It keeps me awake at night. But I wouldn't have it any other way." Notice how that's not boasting, but it reveals a man with direction. Every word is either an invitation into your world or a leak of your power. The man who understands this becomes magnetic because he stops being ordinary. The seventh thing is clear. Strip away filler, speak with intention, and let your words hit with the force of a hammer wrapped in silk. She will remember not just what you said, but the way it made her feel. The eighth thing you must master if you want women to listen without resistance is this. Speak like a leader, not like a follower. Most men talk as if they're asking for permission, soft, hesitant, hoping not to offend. That tone doesn't spark desire, it sparks boredom. A woman cannot feel drawn to a man whose voice carries no authority. She wants to feel she's in the presence of someone who knows where he's going and isn't afraid to lead. Picture this. Two men invite a woman out. The first says, "So, if you're free sometime this week, maybe we could grab a drink?" His tone is tentative, uncertain. The second looks her in the eye and says, "Wednesday, 8 p.m. I know a place you'll like. Be there." One sounds like he's applying for approval. The other sounds like a man she can follow without second-guessing. Machiavelli would have advised, a ruler's voice must inspire confidence even before his actions prove him right. The same applies here. Your words should project certainty before she even decides. And here's the key. This doesn't mean barking orders or trying to control her. True leadership in conversation is calm, measured, and steady. It's the way you pause before answering instead of rushing to fill silence. It's how your tone stays low and grounded, not shaky or high-pitched. It's the way you make statements instead of piling her with questions. For example, instead of saying, "Would you like to go out again?" you say, "Next time we're going somewhere with better music. I'm not letting you get away that easily." Notice the difference. One seeks approval, the other assumes continuation. One is forgettable, the other leaves her intrigued. A woman doesn't want a man to echo her world. She wants him to create one she can step into. And your voice, the way you speak, is the bridge. The eighth thing is this. Speak with the rhythm of a leader, the certainty of a man who knows his path, and the calm authority of someone who never begs to be heard. Because the man who commands attention without raising his voice is the man she never forgets. You've made it to the end, and that alone already puts you ahead of 99% of men. You now have the ability to attract the woman you truly desire, with calm confidence and power. But to achieve this, you'll of course need to take action. Speaking to women the way they secretly crave is not about tricks, but about mastery of yourself. You've seen that words mean little without presence, and presence means nothing without conviction. The silence you control, the provocations you deliver, the vision you reveal. Each one shapes the atmosphere she feels around you. Those who command perception command reality. And when you speak with this awareness, her defenses no longer matter. Because now your words are not questions seeking approval. They are signals of power, of certainty, of a life already in motion. This is why she leans in, why her curiosity grows, why she cannot stop replaying the conversation in her mind. From here on, you are not the man who waits for the perfect moment. You are the man who creates it. If this opened your eyes and you're serious about becoming the man who's in full control of his life, my book is now available. The Undeniable Man, Built to be Chosen. It's a strategic guide for men who want to attract, lead, and dominate in their love life and beyond. Whether you're single or in a relationship, no fluff, no tricks, just pure, powerful strategy that will set you apart from 99% of men, and that you will actually use every day. The link is in the description. And if this video spoke to you, don't just keep your thoughts in your head. Write a comment, even just a few words. It helps you remember these lessons, and it might help someone else too. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this content and share it with someone who, in your eyes, needs it right now. Just trust your instinct. We're all trying to get clearer, more solid inside. So let's build minds that don't break.